Man, you already know what it is, Osiris Lourde. And you can see on the screen here, we got a video about beaches and video games. Why do I want to watch a video about beaches and video games, man? Because I'm hot and I would like to be at the beach right now. And I can't go to the beach because I can't go to the beach. So anyway, you already know what it is, Osiris Lourde. Thank the Lord on Instagram. TheLourdesGiftShop.nyc, TheLourdesGiftShop.com. And make sure you follow me on YouTube, Twitch, all of that. The Lord loves you. And we're going to get to it. So we're going to watch this video about the beach. I did see that there were spoilers. You know, I always try to find a screenshot. So if you don't like spoilers, there are a bunch of spoilers and they will tell you what they are. This video is from KiroTalks on YouTube.
The calming sounds of waves in the background, and most likely some great music playing.
Run it back,
all of these things are what makes
pretty good music in the beginning.
The bright sun shining down on your face, the calming sounds of waves in the background, and most likely some great music playing. All of these things are what makes beach levels in video games
All right,
so
spoilers.
great. So today, I
don't
just
want
want to
anybody say that Osiris spoiled anything. You know what I'm saying? Some spoilers, and it's also flashing and flickering. There's flashing and flickering. I'm dragging it because I don't want nobody to say anything, you know what I'm saying? Like spoilers for Earthbound, Kingdom Hearts, Pokemon, Sonic Adventure, Zelda, and Zelda Wind Waker. Sorry. Let's go. Let's get it.
These things are what makes beach levels in video games so great. So today, I just wanted to talk about a few beach levels that are my favorites, ones that I find interesting, or just ones that I felt like talking about today.
Stop the
so
cap.
grab yourself a drink, sit back, and relax. When it comes to relaxation, one of the best beach levels is Summers from Earthbound. Summers is a fascinating location in Earthbound, as you go there for the first time around halfway through the game, but despite this, it's not a very challenging or particularly dangerous area. There aren't any really powerful enemies, dungeons, or bosses. Summers is this pretty chill vacation town where people just hang out on the beach, drive convertibles, and soak in the sun, which is why the town is said to be the eternal tourist trap. Given that this is a tourist trap, there are plenty of places to spend your money in Summers, and a lot of those places have extremely overpriced food items. For example, at the Summers restaurant, you can buy a cup of iced tea called a Royal Iced Tea that costs $78. Apparently, this tea is the highest quality tea on the planet, with hand-picked tea leaves by some tea leaf expert, and in the past, only the highest members of society were allowed to drink it. Obviously, this is all a bunch of bullcrap. It's the type of stuff that you see in advertising in real life to get people to pay a ton of money for basic things you can get at the dollar store for a few bucks. Now, the reason why this is considered overpriced is because both croissants and calorie sticks restore 60 HP, the same amount of HP that the Royal Iced Tea restores, and they both only cost $18. There's next to no reason why you would ever want to buy a lot of the food items here unless you're that lazy that you don't feel like going to another town to buy food. Unlike in real life, it doesn't potentially take an hour in Earthbound to get to a place that sells things for a reasonable price, because by the time you get to Summers, you'll have the Teleport PSI ability that allows you to go back to previously visited areas that have better prices. The only item here that you could maybe say is worth buying is the Magic Tart. These are sold by this lady near the beach who you first meet in this high-end club called the Stoic Club. The Stoic Club being a place where a bunch of uppity people with way too much money come to eat cake and stare at a rock. No, I am not kidding. The Magic Tarts are items that restore PP, which is needed to use your powerful psychic abilities. Good PP restoring items are actually quite rare in the game. Well, at least for 2 out of the 3 party members that can use PSI abilities. Out of your 4 party members, only Ness, Paula, and Pooh can use PSI abilities. However, Pooh, because of his unique digestive system, I guess, can actually restore large amounts of PP by drinking bottles of water.
Hey, I just did that, right?
Ness and Paula don't have that luxury, meaning unless you find a PP restoring item out in the wild, you're kinda stuck with magic tarts as your most accessible PP restoring items for most of the game. A few moments ago, I brought up Pooh, and Pooh is one of the few things that makes Summers particularly significant in the Earthbound story, as Summers is the place where he finally joined your party. So while Summers itself is more of a pit stop in the story more than anything else, it does have some importance, as it's the place where the quartet of heroes is finally complete. But even besides that, I do really like Summers. Summers takes place around the midway point of the game, and it also takes place after Fourside.
This is regular Earthbound? Because I feel like I've never seen anybody show this
in the game.
These like
I would even call
locations.
Fourside the climax of the first half of Earthbound. So
I literally never seen anybody
like Summers
post any
with
of
chill
these,
music actually makes sense to include to give the player a chance to rest before the next half of the game.
Your father knows about saving
You made it, bro. It's okay.
Everything I'm
You made it, bro. It's
wearing,
okay.
I've had since boot camp.
All right, Kiro, get your money. GG.
Speaking of resting and relaxing, it'd be impossible to bring up
Shout out to
beaches in
Archive.
video games without bringing up Woohoo Island from Wii Sports Resort. Woohoo Island is this vast resort island, so the whole thing has a beach vibe to it. But there are a few events that actually do take place directly on the beach. On the beach, you can play Frisbee with a dog. And yeah, that's actually Frisbee, not some generic version. I guess Nintendo decided to get a deal with Frisbee for Wii Sports Resort. Around the late Wii era and into the Wii U era, I noticed that Nintendo did a lot of collaborations with other brands. There was the Mercedes collab in Mario Kart 8, the SpongeBob collab in Splatoon, and the Sanrio collab villagers in Animal Crossing New Leaf. Maybe it's because around this time Nintendo was starting to lose steam that they tried doing these collaborations with other companies. But anyway, yeah, there was a Frisbee game in Wii Sports Resort. It's not a particularly eventful event, but I don't know, there's just something surreal about seeing big name licensed products in Nintendo games. One of my favorite Wii Sports Resort events that takes place on the beach is Swordplay. Stage 3 of the showdown mode of Swordplay takes place on the beach at midnight. It's an honestly pretty cool aesthetic for a rather simple looking game. There's a bonfire in the background with the glow of some lights to help give off a moody vibe. Swordplay is the event that I probably put the most time into in Wii Sports Resort.
And I never really played Wii Sports.
The Wii remote to
when the Wii came out, I was already like outside.
Another event that places you on the beach is cycling. Cycling is a rather straightforward event, mostly just a lot of shaking of the Wii remote and nunchuck up and down like the controllers are.
I actually have
what I enjoyed the
3
most
Nintendo
about
Wiis. I have 3.
Is just being able to
and
see
I haven't played
Island.
any of them.
Being able to just explore this nice
time.
location filled with captivating landmarks is awesome. That's the same reason why I like the Island Flyover event. That minigame really lets you get to see the whole island in all of its glory. All the beaches, the mountains, the caves, everything. Luckily for Nintendo, they've had experience with basing entire games around island resorts, because they did it before with Super Mario Sunshine. Mario and friends go on vacation to an island resort called Isle Delfino. The Mario series is no stranger to beach levels. Beach Bowl Galaxy,
now we're getting somewhere I know.
Starshine Beach Galaxy,
I know this
Super Mario
stuff.
Galaxy 2, Waterspout Beach, and New Super Mario Bros.
I haven't really played it,
Beach
but I know
Mario
this
plus
stuff.
Rabbids Sparks
I like
of Hope,
looking at it.
Blooper Beach from Mario Party 9, Koopa Beach from Mario Hoops 3-on-3, Koopa Beach 1 from Super Mario Kart, Koopa Beach 2 from Super Mario Kart,
Life's
Koopa
a
Troopa
beach
Beach
and
from
then you
Mario Kart
cry.
64, Shy Guy Beach from Mario Kart Super Circuit, Beach Beach from Mario Kart Double Dash,
Beach.
Cheap Cheap Beach from Mario Kart DS, and I can go on and 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 on. You get the picture. But Isle Delfino from Super Mario Sunshine is special. It took the idea of a beach level and built an entire game around it. I think taking a singular theme and using it for a whole game is really intriguing because it forces you to get really creative in order to come up with compelling level concepts. Super Mario Sunshine, as I mentioned before, really explores the tropical island beach aesthetic, leading to some really cool levels. Two of those levels are beach levels, Gelato Beach and Serena Beach. Gelato Beach is pretty neat, but I think Serena Beach is the more memorable of the two locations. I really like the hotel that's on the beach. The fact that you can go inside of it is a really nice touch. The hotel has a casino inside, so you can have some slot machine fun there. The hotel is haunted too, so the whole thing has this spooky vibe to it. You can never go wrong with a haunted hotel. Speaking of beach levels with spooky vibes, I gotta bring up Destiny Islands from the Kingdom Hearts series. Destiny Islands first appeared in the the first Kingdom Hearts game as the first major area. It's a pretty typical bright sunny beach with
we want to stay at that
trees,
part as soon as you
caves,
turn the game
and
on.
wooden structures. Destiny Islands is a great starter level, as it introduces you to a lot of what you'll be doing in the game in a controlled and safe environment that makes sense in the context of the game's world. The main character Sora and his friends Riku and Kairi live on these islands with a bunch of other kids. While life on the islands is fine, our trio wants to go out and explore other worlds, so they start working on a raft. Over the course of a few days on Destiny Islands, you explore the island looking for materials to build the raft, as well as food and water to survive the trip. While you're looking for resources, you can participate in a few competitions with your fellow kids on the island. You can challenge them to fights to get familiar with the combat in the game. The early game in RPGs can potentially be very slow, as there's a lot of story, walking around, and not much fighting. So Kingdom Hearts helps lessen this issue by letting you fight your friends. You also race Riku for a chance to share a powerful fruit with Kairi, who they both have a little bit of a crush on. Destiny Islands is just a nice little snapshot of the lives of these characters before things inevitably get really dark. Earlier I talked about spooky vibes in relation to Destiny Islands, and the reason I did is because while Destiny Islands is a fun location with summer vacation vibes, one night Destiny Islands is invaded by the forces of darkness known as the Heartless. The once sunny island is shrouded in the darkness of night, with the beady eyes of the evil monsters being some of the only things you can see. You fight this huge Heartless called Darkseid, and afterwards, Destiny Islands is swallowed by the darkness, leaving Sora stranded in a new world with no knowledge of his friend's whereabouts. At the end of the game, you actually go back to Destiny Islands, but it's a corrupted, incomplete version of itself. It's so weird to see the place where your journey started in the final moments of the game, and it's also really creepy seeing it in such a dark and menacing state. Okay, I think we've talked enough about dark and creepy beaches, so instead, let's go back to the more upbeat beaches.
Every time I try to play, I'm not
interested. The Sonic series has a ton of those. Beach and tropical themed levels are kind of a staple of the Sonic series.
I was about to say, Sonic is the kind of
level in the first Sonic game, Green Hill Zone, while not a beach level,
I was about to say, that's not a beach, bro.
Does have a tropical theme, exemplified by all the palm trees and waterfalls.
That is not a beach.
Emerald Hill from Sonic 2 is basically Green Hill by another name. Angel Island from Sonic 3 is an island, of course, and we get to see the sandy beach of Angel Island when Sonic first flies in the beginning. Palm Tree Panic from Sonic CD has palm tree in the name, and it's also very similar to Green Hill. Speaking of Green Hill, Sonic Advance actually gave us Neo Green Hill Zone. Sonic Advance helped usher in a new age of Sonic games. Sonic games were now going to be on Nintendo consoles. And now, not only that, but Sonic was going to go back to its roots with 2D games, as the series had spent the last few years doing a lot of 3D stuff. So going back to Green Hill with a new coat of paint was an understandable idea. Neo Green Hill is similar to Green Hill, but there actually is a beach portion of the stage this time around. But when I think of beach stages in Sonic games, I think the first stage that comes to mind is Emerald Coast from Sonic Adventure. Emerald Coast is the first level in Sonic.
This is like the best Sonic game in my opinion. It's like, well, you know, I'm sorry, we're watching a video right now, I gotta give my opinion, you know what I'm saying? We're watching the video, I can't just run the whole video through, you know what I'm saying? So I think that Sonic has like the best just kind of, what is it called, open world or whatever. I think Sonic has the best open world situation going on than any other game, because Sonic lives in my, when these people say that thing lives in my head rent free, Sonic Adventure, all the games live in my head rent free, from literally all the locations, all of the, like the the Chaos Emeralds, all of that Sonic, that lives in my head for free. I love Sonic. I'll never give up on Sonic. I don't watch Sonic or play Sonic like that, but I love everything about Sonic Adventure. Let's get it.
Adventure, continuing the trend of first levels in Sonic games having a tropical theme. It's a pretty straightforward but ultimately fun first level. There are some memorable moments, like this whale who's crashing out as he chases after you,
That's fire.
being able to run sideways on the walls, and the various times you get sent flying into the air,
Come on.
allowing you to really appreciate the sunny scenery. One of the things that I love about this stage is that it has various moments when you can skip over portions of the level. This is in large part due to Sonic Adventure's more open approach to its level design.
I never really thought about that as a kid.
There's plenty of hallways in Sonic Adventure, like a lot of Sonic games, but in a lot of the stages, it feels like there's more room to breathe and kind of make your own path. So far, I've only talked about the Sonic version of the stage, but 2 of the other playable characters in the game,
very
Big the
peaceful.
Cat and E102 Gamma, also go through this level in their campaigns. Instead of speeding through the stage at supersonic speeds, with Big, it's a slow-paced stage where you go fishing, and with E102 Gamma, you shoot down enemy robots.
I think
both characters are looking for Big's friend,
the robot
a frog named Frog.
Definitely was my favorite character.
I much prefer Sonic's version of the stage, but it is fascinating to get different takes on the same level. Emerald Coast, while not as iconic as, say, Green Hill, has become a substantial location in the Sonic universe in its own right, as it reappeared in the 3DS version of Sonic Generations, and it got something of a reboot in Sonic 06 with Wave Ocean. Both are tropical beach levels, both are the first stages in their respective games, and both games have a section where you're chased by a whale.
We not know waifu. We not know waifu.
We are going to go over common pieces of career advice that job seekers get.
Skip this ad shit.
But now that we've gotten through the big sections of this video out of the way, let's have a little lightning round where I briefly talk about some cool beaches throughout gaming.
Somebody have an ad on their video, I don't be mad.
Controversial beaches in gaming is definitely Kanzuki Beach from Street Fighter V, a beach owned by the rich fighter.
By the time you see this, I might have an ad on this.
Street Fighter has had a few beach stages in its history. Of course, there was the Jamaica stage in Street Fighter 2, the home of the musician Kickboxer, DJ, and his new stage in Street Fighter 6, Bathurst Beach. But what makes Kanzuki Beach so special is that this stage is banned. Kanzuki Beach is banned from competitive tournaments, and the reason is quite obvious if you spend a few minutes playing on this stage. The reason is because there are waves coming in from the right side of the stage. These waves hurt the visibility of the game because they can potentially cover up things like projectiles that are close to the ground. Obviously, not being able to see something that can potentially damage your character is really, really broken. So this stage is banned in official competitive play. It sucks because I think it's a pretty stage with some absolutely incredible music. Another beach level with incredible music is Crust Cove from Pizza Tower. Crust Cove's music track, Tropical Crust, is an amazing track that mixes jazzy grooves with some funky disco and even a bit of some rock and guitar. The level itself is really fun too, a fast-paced stage with a nice background of a beach at sunset. Speaking of beach levels at sunset, I have to bring up Sunset Shore from Donkey Kong Country Returns. The background of this stage is this stunning-looking ocean at sunset, and the foreground of this level is rendered in pitch black, which only highlights the beauty of the background. Visually, it's one of my favorite stages in a platformer. Nintendo franchises have this thing where every once in a while they'll try something really cool artistically with one of their stages, and it was cool that Retro Studios did this with a stage in Donkey Kong Country Returns. While not the most artistically interesting, another island that I really like is Tortimer Island from Animal Crossing New Leaf.
Yeah, Animal Crossing,
you can get the boat captain named Cap'n to give you and your friends a ride to Tortimer Island. Tortimer Island has a beach section where all sorts of wildlife can be found. My favorites were the giant stag beetles that could only be found super late at night and early in the morning. By selling the beetles, you could net a pretty sizable amount of bells. There were other cool things on Tortimer Island, like you could also buy some exclusive items at the souvenir store. But one really awesome thing you could do was play mini games either alone or with your friends on the island. There were these little challenges called tours where you could see how many bugs you could catch, or try and find items in a scavenger hunt, or try to dig up specific fossils buried on the island. These mini games could earn you medals, which you could then use to buy the items in the souvenir shop. Tortimer Island is a nice little place to just hang out with your friends and get some cool items. Another nice little place on the beach is Dewford Town in the Hoenn region from the 3rd generation Pokemon games, Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. Dewford Town is a really small settlement in the Pokemon series. It doesn't even have a Pokemart, which is essentially the Pokemon equivalent of a corner store. It does have Dewford Hall, which is, I guess, kind of like a social club where people on the island come to chat. Because Dewford is so small, trends on the island spread really fast. If you talk to this kid near Dewford Hall, you can come up with a new trendy phrase that the people in Dewford Hall will then start saying. Dewford does have a Pokemon gym, which is probably the only reason why this place gets any sort of traction from visitors. I find this gym weird because its gimmick is that the whole gym is dark, and by beating trainers, it gets brighter in there. But the type of this gym is a fighting type Pokemon gym. You'd think that a gym with a darkness gimmick would be a dark type gym, or even a ghost type gym. In any case, there are quite a few other beaches in the Pokemon games. It helps that the Alola region from the Generation 7 games, Pokemon Sun and Moon, is a collection of islands based on Hawaii. But one of my favorite beach areas in the Pokemon series is Undella Town in the Unova region from the Generation 5 games, Pokemon Black and White and Black and White 2. Undella Town is a really interesting location because throughout most of the year, it's a fairly barren and empty town. But during the summer, it's a whole lot more lively as people come to stay in the villas on vacation.
This is about beaches.
You can find one character staying in one of the villas no matter what season it is.
Oh! I thought this was about beaches, not a horror.
Cynthia,
you know what I'm saying?
the Pokemon champion of the Sinnoh region and the final boss of the Generation 4 Pokemon games, Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, is just chilling in this villa and asks you for a battle. Pokemon games are no stranger to having boss characters and even final boss characters return in later games, but there's just something so jarring and funny about one of the strongest trainers in the Pokemon series suddenly showing up to battle you in some vacation town. It helps that her intro music is this really aggressive, epic sounding piano song, which is such a huge contrast to the usual music in Undella Town, which is either a really calm and peaceful tune during the spring, fall, and winter,
do not get me a copyright right now, bro.
Song during the summer. A less upbeat mood comes from The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker.
Bro. GG, you did both of us a favor, bro. Don't give me a copyright right now, bro.
The background behind why the game has a ton of beaches is quite dark. The big bad of the Zelda franchise, Ganon, was doing a lot of evil stuff, but there was no hero around to defeat him. So as a result, the deities of Hyrule flooded the land of Hyrule to seal Ganon away. What was left of Hyrule was a collection of islands in a massive sea that you'll need a ship to travel across. And of course, with lots of islands, there's also lots of beaches. I find it really interesting that in the same year, that being 2002, both a big Mario game and a big Zelda game on the GameCube both had tropical themes to them. You know, it actually makes sense considering the GameCube's codename was Dolphin.
Oh, that does make sense,
in gaming than I'd ever have time to cover in one video without it ballooning in length. So I figured I'd quit while I was ahead and end things off here. Beach levels are awesome, and I've really enjoyed taking the time here today to explore some of them with you all. If there's a great or memorable beach level that I didn't talk about in this video, please feel free to tell me about it in the comments. I'm sure there's at least one beach level that you have rattling in your brain that you're dying to talk about. That's about all I have to say for the video. So with all of that being said, thanks for...
What else you got on your page, Kiro? Our games to Hardy's. We're gonna subscribe to KiroTalks. Gotta look like they got some good videos. GG. Horror levels, cooking and video games. Okay, I like the themes that you got going on here. You know, you deserve that. Subscription that I just gave you, man. So anyway, you already know who it is. Osiris Lourde. Again, shout out to KiroTalks. If you can't be yourself for some reason, you could be Lourde, but I prefer you to be yourself because I'm already taken. Actually, I'm single. But let's get it. Anyway, so follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitch, YouTube. The Lord loves you. Drop a comment, like, and all of that stuff. I appreciate y'all. Signing off. Yada there.